Good afternoon. My name is Stephen Hurt, and like all of you here, I live in Southern California. I have for 10 years now. I bought a house here, live in the Cleveland National Forest, and enjoy the things that I get to do around my home. Now, knowing you all and talking with you all, you also enjoy this lower area of Southern California where we have not only beaches and sand and water, but we also have mountains, hiking trails, the ability to go fishing, hunting, camping. All these things are available to us right in our backyard, and on top of that, we have the ability to see nature and wild animals. Now, what many of you don't know, and I personally experienced because I live in this area, is that lately the departments have been using poisonous traps out in the national reserves to try to take care of rodents and small squirrels and anything of that sort that they deem necessary. Well, that shouldn't even be allowed, and the issues that come up with that really need to be addressed. So to bring it up first, there's the California Code of Regulations for inside of a national park. First, and I'll quote 4305, protection. No person shall molest, hunt, disturb, harm, feed, touch, tease, or spotlight any kind of animal or fish. So basically that means inside of the national reserves that animals are supposed to be protected from everyone and everything outside of nature itself. On top of that though, we get our Part B, which does introduce exclusions for fishing and hunting in certain areas with permits. So we obviously know we have to have fishing licenses and hunting licenses, and we get to participate in sport throughout the seasons, and that helps with the animal population. But if those are the only two rules, how are the departments allowing these poisonous traps to be used inside of there? Well, they wrote themselves a clause, and I'll quote that clause. Feeding, not allowed in state parks, but doesn't apply to departments of the state. So they've given themselves their own loophole to be allowed to act and do things inside of there that they wish. So what we're finding living out there is they're putting these poisonous bait traps that look like these black boxes with a hole on each side that these rats and squirrels are going into. They're eating the poisonous bait, but then they're leaving. These traps aren't holed. They get to walk away after that, and they die 1 to 3 days later. Well, doing that, they introduce the ability of the poison to get through anywhere throughout that community by air, land, or water. So with air, you have predatory birds, owls, eagles, hawks. They pick up these rats that are either dead or moving, and now they have picked up that pesticide as well, and they're eating it. And when they eat it, they're moving it to other areas, or they're killing themselves in the process of just trying to survive. And then on land, you have foxes, wolves, mountain lions, your own pets. If they happen to come across one of these animals that's in your yard that may have come there to die, pets are nosy, they're gonna pick it up. And next thing you know, your dog is suffering from this poison, and you can't do anything about it other than hope to make it to the nearest ER in time for animals. And we all know that out in the mountain ranges, maybe the closest one's an hour away, and hopefully they're open. On top of that, your kids could pick it up, they could wind up touching it, and if they put their hands in their mouths like any child does, they've now also given themselves the ability to get sick from this poisoning. Then you have the water. Animals come to drink. That's simple enough, and when they get there, they may defecate or urinate, and that introduces itself into the water, and these fish that we hunt or fish, for the use of proper term, use that water, and now you have this poisonous fish that you're pulling out and possibly feeding to your family, or leaving on the side for again another animal to pick up and get sick from. So there has to be alternatives, and there honestly is. So one is a natural alternative, which is owls. Introduce owls into the ecosystem that's there. Build barn owl boxes. Allow them to come into that area and populate and do their job at controlling overpopulation of these small rodents. On top of that, if we want to continue to intervene, they make a thing called a wise box, which is more or less like a taser tower. The squirrel or mouse goes inside the tower, they go to take the bait, and they are electrocuted and they die inside the box. Now this means a little bit more work for a park ranger or anybody that's using that, but you also know that everybody in that community is safe and there's no poison introduced. So with my home being actually inside of the National Forest, and you all getting to visit those areas and enjoy that hunting and camping, and knowing that your family can just go out there to have a good time without having to worry about anything, we should really be concerned about this poison being used on these animals and its ability to get around, and we should definitely look and speak our voices in making sure the alternatives get used. Thank you for your time.